Hey, Gemini. Dude. Ten of Swords in reverse. Not bad. Okay. What else we got? 5 of Swords. King of Cups. Love it. 3 of Cups in reverse. 5 of Cups. Oh my god. 4 of Coins. Well, okay. High Priestess. What else? Anything else? Well, I'm glad the High Priestess is here for you. And 3 coins. Interesting. Oh. And the Sun. Okay. It's gonna be alright, Gemini, I promise. It will. Oh my god, I know that it's intense. But. Okay. 10 of Swords in reverse. Yeah. I mean, okay. I'm like processing your reading because it is a lot. But it's totally going to be positive and great. Whoops. And beautiful. The Sun is all over the place. This is where we're headed. So as I go through, take you through it, please know that there is a happy ending at the end of the story. And also that you are totally, like, in a really clear headspace. Even if you don't always feel like you're in a clear headspace, I feel like there's just a really strong sense of you guiding yourself through the darkness that you are going to. It's like you're finding the light at the end of the tunnel this month. You are finding the light at the end of the tunnel. And so I'm starting with the happy ending because I want you to know that as you move through the darkness, you do know the way out and you do know what you're doing. And with the High Priestess upright, without any, there's no reversal. So if there is any sense of doubt or any sense of like, or like, is there, you know everything's going to be okay. You know you're going to get through it. You know it's going to be even better on the other side than what you possibly could have imagined. Everything, in spite of what it seems, is happening for your highest good. So that is the disclaimer at the top, and we'll move our way back there. But, okay, we're starting then again with the 10 of Swords. So this is the close of a cycle, which is real because we just went through that Pisces Mercury retrograde and we're starting the astrological new year with Aries season. And, you know, all this crazy shit has been happening collectively. So with the 10 of Swords in reverse, but for you specifically, Gemini, it's like you are closing out something that has been going on for a long time. These are your own inner psychological patterns. And all right. So what did that entail though? We got the 4 of Coins, and this is a scarcity mindset. And so I think it's kind of like a fear of letting go of what is no longer serving you. Because we got this 5 of Swords too, and we got the 5 of Cups. The 5 of Cups to me is the grief card. So to me, the 5 of Cups represents the 5 stages of grief. So that's like sadness, anger, bargaining, denial, and acceptance. Not like really what anyone loves to move through, but I mean, the 5 of Cups is ultimately a portal to acceptance. And with the 4 of Coins, there's a sense of you kind of like clinging to something that isn't working. And with the 5 of Swords, I get the sense of a little bit of deception or a little bit of like, maybe you're winning at life, but you're like winning at life at like some great cost, either to yourself or to other people around you. And so this energy is kind of heavy, and that's what I was talking about with the darkness. It's like there's just been something that's kind of been existing in your life for way too long that is absolutely not serving you, and I think it needs to kind of be dealt with, and perhaps there's no tower moment. I don't see the tower here. So I don't think this is like something that is like a shock or something that's like coming out of the blue so much as it's like maybe in Mercury retrograde season you kind of got to some truths about your life where you're like, fuck, I can't do this anymore. So I'm gonna make this, when I'm doing readings, this is always just energy, and it's always like psychological, spiritual growth that I'm speaking of rather than specific situations, especially since these are general readings. But for me, tarot is not about like what happens to us, but how we move through our own growth and our own like soul lessons. So that's what I'm trying to talk to, but I'm going to make this about a relationship. Let's say you were in a relationship that was like not the best and you knew it, but you were like hanging on to it because there was a part of you that thought, I'm never going to do better than this person. So I'm either going to like be in this relationship that's got some problems that kind of like hurts me a little bit, that's a little bit painful and like stabby at times, but at least I have it. At least I have something. So it might be a case of kind of having outweighed the good of a situation over the bad. Like, so that could be like, this situation has been, whatever it is, it could have been a job. It could even be friendship, because we have here this 3 of Cups in reverse, too. And this is like kind of a lack of celebration. So this could be someone who like is in your circle, whether it's a romantic partner or not. Maybe it's a friend, but it's someone who's kind of like not always happy for you, or like you just, I mean, someone you can't really be, like, you know, like the type of friend who like you can't really share your good news with them because you know that your good news is gonna like make them a little unhappy and that they're gonna have to fake being happy for you, you know? It's kind of, that's like the vibe I'm getting, especially with the 5 of Swords in reverse and with the 3 of Cups. It's like someone who is not really fully there for you, but they were there for you in certain ways, and so that's what the 4 of Coins energy of like, I'm gonna hang on to this, because, but again, I think it's like maybe having overestimated what was good about this situation that wasn't working, as opposed to really acknowledging there was more that wasn't working about it, and it's better to let it go completely and end that cycle. And I think that also speaks to another meaning of the 5 of Cups, which is like usually in the 5 of Cups, as you can see here, there's the 3 cups that were spilled, but then there's the 2 cups that are still upright, and he's focusing on the 3 cups that were spilled. And weirdly, for you, I feel like that's kind of like you've been focusing on what you overestimated as being good in this situation while ignoring, it's like kind of almost flipping the meaning of the 5 of Cups, but I think it's just that there has been a hesitancy to let go. A hesitancy to let go, I say, only because we got, like, especially 4 of Coins, and, you know, I think that, you know, 5 of Cups, maybe it's, like, sometimes we don't, you know, it's, like, kind of like some people don't want to break up because they know the relationship's not working, but then they also know they're going to have to go through that grief process. So sometimes people stay in things because they, like, want to prolong having to deal with this. They're like, I'm not ready to go through that grief process. Because even though I know I'm going to need to do it, I just don't want to do it now. So there's just kind of a procrastination, too, with this energy. And I'm talking about it a lot. But I think that's the situation that's been going on. But, like, now let me get to the positives. With the High Priestess, I think there's just a part of you that is, like, knows the truth. And there's also with the High Priestess, I think what the beautiful part of the High Priestess, if you really sink into this energy, is that she doesn't take any of it personally. The grief and all these emotions and that kind of thing, it's partly because of the way you let the situation form your identity. So not only are you grieving the loss of a situation that was no longer working for you, a cycle that was kind of closing out, but you're also grieving the person you thought you were. But I think you're also, just with this King of Cups, finding real emotional strength, real emotional resiliency, real, like, just a kind of a sense of, like, I deserve better than this. And I am willing to move through this grief now, and I'm willing to end this cycle, and I'm willing to let go of this scarcity mindset, because this has been too painful and too deceiving and too full of bullshit, and it's not really celebrating my best life. And you deserve positive teamwork. You deserve people who have your back. You deserve people who are going to help you hold up that weird coin thing, right? So I think that you're, with this energy, really, like, kind of finding the light at the end of that tunnel, because you're like, it's like you're finally starting to see this has become more painful that it's been good. This has been more hard for me that it's been serving me. It's worth moving through the pain of disappointment I'm gonna feel, and disappointment maybe I'm gonna, like, have to deal with on other people's behalf. Like, it's worth moving through this kind of pain of ending this cycle once and for all, because I need to be supported. I need to support myself, and in doing so, I will attract people who are going to support me alongside with me. And I have just kind of, again, an ability to maybe step outside of it a little bit, kind of get a bird's eye view, and not take it so personally, so that you can be like, this isn't all my fault. It's not my fault. It's like in Good Will Hunting, when Sean told Will it's not his fault, and Will is like, I know, and then Sean's like, no, it's not your fault, and then Will's like, I know, and then Sean's like, no, it's not your fault, and then Will's like, I know, and he's like, no, you don't know, it's not your fault, and then he starts crying and he sobs, and it's beautiful, and then there's that release, of the grief that he had been avoiding, and then as he moves through that grief, he gets to that place of acceptance, and then that is where we can come to the sun, which is like, this is really beautiful. It's you kind of being like, alright, this has been really hard and challenging, but I just feel fresh. I feel reborn. I mean, it really might be kind of a death rebirth energy in a way. We didn't get the death card, so it's not specifically that, but the sun does feel like a rebirth. I mean, look, it's a little baby thing, right? So it's like, okay, I let go of that baggage. I kind of have an ability to, because at the end of Good Will Hunting, Will goes to California to start a new life. It's like he had to move through that pain that he was carrying in him, so that he could face his own blocks and his own fears, and then be like, okay, no, I deserve support. I deserve to have a good life. I deserve to feel emotionally whole and grounded and stable. And I deserve to really honor what I know is in my best interests. So, that's your reading, basically. I don't know that there's more to say. But it's like you're finding the happy ending because you were willing to move through the dark night of the soul. And it's sort of like it's darkest before the dawn. And I feel like by the end of April, especially with spring coming, it's like you are really finally getting to start your 2020 in a way. Like, for real. Maybe this is like the turning point where you're like, my life was never the same again after April 2020, because that was when I realized I deserved a little bit better than I had been settling for, and I gave up everything that was no longer serving me, and then all of these beautiful new opportunities started flooding into my life that were more in alignment with myself, and that were more in my highest good, and more like what I really truly always wanted, so that I could live the life of my dreams. So, crazy energy, Gemini, but I think you're with like the High Priestess is a huge blessing, and I think the King of Cups speaks to also your own emotional resiliency to really get through this and thrive. So I love you, and I'll see you again in May. Bye.